Hey folks, David from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, and I have GM Leigh with me in the house today from Mage
Hello.
Productions. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm great. It's a beautiful rainy day outside. How about
Nice.
yourself?
Good, good. We've had quite a. It feels like we're going to be washed away because it's for the past like 2 months. It's just nothing but rain.
Right. That's how it's been here. But the grass looks good outside for the first time in ever. So
I
that's
would
nice.
say that too, except for you could lose a small child in it right now. So that would be one of the problems for us. What side of the coast you on?
I'm in Georgia, so East
East.
Coast.
Okay, cool. You're just south of us in Jersey.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Mage Productions, tell us a little bit about that. How'd you get started with it? What is it? What can people expect?
So Mage Productions is a project that my D&D group has been talking about for a while. Just a place to talk about different like table rules and how things can go, and talking to different players about how they play and why they play. Definitely want that roundtable feel, and in podcast form, because I don't have a lot of time to consume video content and things like that, catch up on streams. I like being able to listen on the go in the car, things like that. So we thought, why not? Let's start our own podcast and get that going.
Yeah, I think I find that a lot of people, even with YouTube anyway, they still just listen. So,
Yeah, that's true. I've listened to it in my car a few times. So
I know I'm guilty of that as well. Have it playing in the background while I'm doing other stuff. So,
right, right.
so you said you've got about 5 episodes up now?
Yeah, we have about 5 episodes. It's currently we're, I guess, reviewing more, talking about Morgan Canaan's Tome of Foes. We were lucky enough to get an early copy of that, so we went through kind of chapter by chapter and broke down like what it talks about, what it covers, and things like that, without giving too much away.
Well, it's kind of out there now. What are your favorite parts of Tome of
It is
Foes?
out there now. I think it's out there everywhere today. Um,
Yes, yes, the 29th. That's correct.
yeah. My favorite chapter is probably the Gith, talking about the Githyanki and the Githzerai and how they exist and where they exist and all of that stuff. It's just so cool, and it's so interesting to me, their culture and how they interact with each other and how they came to be. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we are working our way through it slowly. We're still in chapter 1. We just wrapped up the Blood War.
That chapter is nuts too, and there's all kinds of content in there, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it's a great place. It's a great place for adventure seeds. There's just like so much in there, especially the devil section. But
Yeah.
then when they talk about abyssal incursion, I
Yeah,
was like, that's insane.
it really is insane, and I am very tempted to take my players to the River Styx just to see how that goes.
Be like, there's an old guy. He's doing baptisms. Do you guys want one?
Right? You want to participate in this? It's gonna be
Yeah,
fun. It'll be great.
yeah. You can get this guy's blessing.
Yeah, yeah, and then like take this boat ride, that you bribed for, and it'll be great. Everybody will love it.
So you had mentioned earlier that you're getting ready to actually do another session 0 for an actual play.
Yes, we actually start tonight, so it'll be our session 0. We ended our last campaign about 2-3 months ago. We ran it for about 2.5 years, so we're in the same homebrew world, and it's 100 years later, based off of the actions that they did in the last campaign.
And uh, how often were you getting together with that group for 2.5 years?
About every other week, with schedules permitting and being adults and stuff like that.
Yeah. So did you guys go all the way to level 20?
No, we got to about level 9.
So what ended the campaign?
The premise is that magic was no longer in the world, so they had to collect these stones that were the essence of the metallic dragons. And in gathering those, they then took them to a shrine and brought back the dragons, which then brought back magic to the world. So now there is magic.
So, was that like an intended spot to stop, or because like for us right now, we're working on our first games ever that will like go all the way to level 20, which is something we've never done. High level games is something we've never seen. But we started 2 campaigns when 5e came out. We play them. We play each one of them once a month. And one set of characters are about to level. They just leveled to 17, and the other characters are at 18th level.
Wow, that's a commitment. That's a lot.
It is. I don't know if I care if we do it again or not, but it would be cool to finally have done it for the first time.
Yeah, really, really cool. For us, it was the intended stop part because it took us 2.5 years to get to this point. It was kind of a let's play different characters. Let's do something different.
So, in the chat, they're saying your volume's a little low. Do you have a gain on your mic there you can turn up some? I know you're using headphones.
Yeah, I'm using headphones. I'm on my iPad. I'm doing the best I can. I can try to talk louder.
Yell. You just need to yell. Eat the mic, yeah. Channel.
Is this better? How's this?
Yeah, you just have to you just have to channel your Steven Tyler. That's all.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. So, you guys have a regular cast on Mage Productions?
We have a rotating cast. So there's myself and then all of the players within our group. So we have Brad and Kyle and Joe and Kate. Every now and then we'll get Brad's son involved, Logan. He's awesome, and he's a brand new player, and he's really into this. So he's always fun and has a lot of interesting tidbits to throw into all of our discussions.
So will you be the GM in the upcoming game?
I will, yes.
It's right in part of your name, so,
Yeah, it's right there.
Figure you might have to. So what do you got planned?
So we're going to go a little more political intrigue with this game. We have, so there's 2 sides to this. There's the resistance, if you will, which I'm pretty sure my players are going to jump in on that one because that's awesome. And then there's the other political side who, because magic's been brought back into the world, they're trying to control it and kind of get magic users registered and get them spread out across the globe so that there's one nation isn't stronger than another nation and kind of create an equal ground for everyone to stand on.
So it's like the Mutant Registration Act, essentially?
Right. Very X-Men-esque, yeah.
So, I guess if they're registered... So, I guess are there, if they're going to be the resistance, I suppose the other side that's actually trying to register mages and stuff like that will be the quote-unquote bad guys.
Depends on how you look at it,
Yeah, well, yeah, as always, it's like it depends on what side of the conflict you're on.
Right.
But, so will they also be using magic to make sure the mages register and to basically try and control the magic?
Definitely, yes. They are magic users themselves, so...
Nice. Is this something you've been working on for a while? What was the inspiration?
Yeah, I've been working on this for a little bit. I've been watching a lot of, I guess, older political shows like Reign and stuff like that. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not.
It's good. It's been interesting. But kind of bringing more of a political standpoint to it and getting a basis of government put into this world because it's kind of been lacking through the previous campaign. So I thought it'd be a good time to jump in on that and let's build it together from the ground up in game. Why not?
Cool. So how many players you got for that?
We have 4 players.
Okay, that's not a bad
Yeah,
size. That's like 4 to 6 is like the sweet spot.
it really is. It really is. When I got started a long time ago, we had 8 players, and that's just insanity. And it takes so long. And this group is good. It's small, and everyone knows everybody's play style, so we work well together. It's been a great group.
Gotcha. Have you guys been? You said you guys have been playing together for a while.
Yeah, yeah. We've been playing together almost 3 years.
Okay, so that's a little while.
Yeah.
Thanks for the super chat, Fantasy Grounds. We like so Nerdarchy like is basically kind of based off of the our like first serious D&D group. So me and Ted and Nate probably started gaming together like 20 years ago.
That's awesome.
So and Nate has kind of like come and gone over the years, and the regularity at which we've been able to get together depending on life and adulting and all that stuff has changed.
Right.
But
Right.
but for the most part, me and Ted have been gaming together for the past like 20 some years.
Nice.
And then then we have my buddy Mark who's been in that group for probably close to like 15 of that 20. So time flies when you're having fun.
It really does. It really does. I was surprised that our campaign lasted so long and went so long. It's like, wow, it's already been 2 years. This is nuts.
Yeah, and despite us having a group that had been together so long, we rarely would our games last. They'd always fizzle for some reason or another.
Right. Life gets in the way. You're a month off, you're 2 months off. And then at that point, do we jump back into where we were, or do we just start over?
Or it's the same DM all the time, so they get bored with whatever's going on. Hey, I got a new
Right.
idea.
Yeah. I got lucky. When we ended our last campaign, we had about 2-3 months that we've still been playing, so all of our players have been taking turns running one shots. So I've gotten to jump in on playing again, and that's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why we went to like the model that we're using now. It's been keeping us from getting burned out.
Right. It's good. It works, and it gives them a chance to kind of build out our world that we're working on, and take a turn running some games.
So right now you just have GM roundtables up, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So you guys haven't actually done any of the podcasting stuff, because Doug has a question, and maybe you've given this thought even though you're not quite there yet. Any distinctive qualities emerge from podcasting a game, playstyle differences between regular home game, podcast, live stream, etc. Have you given that thought?
We have. We actually started recording our live game. The last few episodes that we have up on Outer World, our live play podcast, were from our previous campaign, so that we can kind of get used to calling each other by our names instead of just looking at the other person and say, I'm going to poke you, or whatever it may be, to kind of give more audio help to what it is that we're doing, or who it is that we're talking to, or how we are interacting with our setting.
How much consideration as a group have you guys given the fact that it's going to be that you guys are going to be podcasting it and people are going to be listening to it? So once you do that, it goes from being a game we use to entertain ourselves to almost like a game and a performance that we use to entertain others.
Right. Yeah, this is something that we talked about before we started kind of recording and putting our stuff online, is that I know my goal with this is for us to have fun at the table. I think that's the most important thing. And if we can record it and get some listeners too, that's awesome. But I want it to be fun for us first. I don't want it to turn into work or turn into some big crazy production for it to be a production, because it is a game, and it is a game for us.
Okay, it makes sense. Although you do have production right in the name.
We do, yes, yeah.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. It is a trap.
So it becomes a record for you guys. So what kind of topics do you guys want to handle and deal with during the roundtables?
So Um, I like reviewing the content. Like I said, right now we're looking over Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. We have a few other episodes coming up for like house rules, things that we use at our table, holes that we fill for 5th edition because that's what we play. And also we're looking into doing things like how we write one shots or how I build out my world, how I prep for games, how the players prep for games, um, interviewing other GMs and how they work out through things, and other players and how they play. Because there's a lot of GM content out there, but there's not that much like player content too. So we want to bring that into it as well.
Yeah, it's funny because as content creators, it's like it's probably we do like a player piece for every like 3 to 5 GM pieces.
Right.
And I guess part of it too, it depends on what side of the screen you spend more time on.
Definitely.
And I know like one of the struggles I find that we have sometimes is like bringing it back to the new player because we've been doing it for so long.
Right, right. Yeah, which I think is really cool in our group because we have Brad who's been gaming for 20 something years, and then I've been running games for about 4 years, and then we have Joe and Kyle and Kate who've been gaming on and off for a while, and Joe runs a few games, so kind of getting all of their input in on these factors gives us a wider range of, I guess, experience levels in running games and in playing games.
So, the 5 episodes you have up, are they all Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes?
Yes. And then we have our last one coming up next week, which is all about the monsters. And then after that, we'll be kind of jumping into house rules and player stuff and world building.
Okay, so there are links in the description where you guys can check out GM Leigh and Mage Productions, and you can find that, get all caught up. How long are your episodes?
We try to keep them under 25 minutes.
Oh, they're short.
Right. Yeah. So they're to the point and kind of quick to pick up and listen to, and not like a 2-hour long thing of us ranting about whatever, which I'm sure we could do.
For podcasts, that is super short.
Right, definitely.
Which is fine. I mean, I find there's a niche for everyone to kind of like jump in and find what they're looking for. So I know Zaref Gaming was asking what was your favorite things from Tome of Foes. You had mentioned the gift section, but go over there and listen to the podcast, and you can find out what their favorite stuff is.
Yes, definitely.
And at first I was like, oh, that might be a little daunting. Is that 5 hours? Is that 10 hours? But at 25 minutes a clip, that's not bad. You can definitely work your way through that. We try
to keep them short and sweet, kind of an a la carte thing. You can listen to what the topics that you want to hear, and then move on to something else.
Score. So, and you guys are doing audio only, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so because someone had asked in the chat about players and cameras, so to reiterate, it's a podcast, so it's not actually streaming, so they don't have to worry about the cameras.
We don't. I'm pretty camera shy, so I don't know how I feel about that right now. Maybe down the road.
Well, I don't know. You're on a camera right now.
I know. I know. And I was on my first online game last night, and yeah.
So, oh, cool. Who were you playing with, and what were you playing?
I was playing with Wing Horizon on Twitter. We were going over a Cabal Press game, so kind of reviewing that. That's coming out later this year. It was a lot of fun. It was a great game.
Oh, cool. Which one?
Because you asked, I do not remember.
That is how it works. Yeah, we're big.
Yeah.
We're big fans of Kobold Press.
Me too. I love all of their stuff. It is absolutely amazing.
I I tend to like their DM options better than the player options, but that's just me.
Yeah, I really need to pick up their new world book, Midgard.
Midgard, yeah,
That's what the yeah.
it's beefy. It's a nice sized book.
That's
We,
awesome.
we had recently we had reviewed all the deep magics from them.
Right.
I think we still have a couple more to put up. But we had gone through the full deep magic, and we like those because they're nice and short for doing reviews. They're like
Right.
a big one was like 20 pages, but hey, thanks for the super chat, Brenton. But you know the the thing that was awesome about them is like just the art. Like I would tell people like you should be just if you bought these and you didn't like the content, it was worth it for the art alone because they put such
Yeah,
great art in these small tiny products.
they really do. I have Tome of Beasts in my upstairs, and that is such a good monster book. Such a good one.
Yeah, I have it in my stack next to me over here. I'm gonna have to. I have to figure out something else to do with my fifth edition books because I just keep piling them up over on this table. I'm like, I don't know about this table.
Yeah, you need a shelf for them.
I know.
There's more and more coming out. So
I know. I know. I got a shelf of third edition in front of me. Over my other shoulder is some other games and fourth edition.
yep,
More shelves,
all the shelves.
pretty much. So we were talking a little bit about you. You actually got a signed copy of Tome of Foes.
I did, yeah. It's signed by the team, and it's so cool. And like, put on my white gloves before I pick it up and flip through it.
Is that the only copy you own? Because I'd probably want to just like set that one aside.
Right now, it's the only copy I own, but I'm definitely gonna pick up I have the special edition covers, so I'll pick up a normal one.
Okay.
So all my bindings will match. And,
This time around, it was a little tough to decide which one I liked better.
yeah.
Xanathars, I kind of dug the regular cover better, and then for Volo's Guide, hands down the special edition.
Oh my gosh, that book is beautiful. That cover is absolutely amazing. It's probably my favorite cover.
Yeah, yeah, and the regular edition for Volo's Guide just doesn't even come close to competing.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. I never got the special edition of Xanathars, so it is missing in my collection. But maybe one day I'll pick it up on eBay for like $200,
Yeah,
whatever it is they go for.
When you become independently wealthy, you can just go grab it over there.
Because that's gonna happen sometime soon. Right.
You never know.
That's true. You don't.
Rich uncle you never knew about passes away. All you have to do is stay in his manor for overnight for one night.
I'm sure that will go well. It won't be creepy at all.
It won't be creepy at all. And then the real life adventure begins.
Right.
Yeah. So did you say Other Worlds? Is that the name of the campaign you guys are getting started with?
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds.
Right. It was kind of the pet project name for it, and then I just never changed it, and it stuck, so we went with it.
I don't think political intrigue when I think Outer World. It makes me think of like you're going to do something like with Cthulhu or Great Old Ones.
You never know. You never know.
Well,
I'm
maybe.
Big fan of tentacles, so let's do it.
Nice. Somebody's got to be pushing the registration of mages and arcanists.
Exactly. Someone's got to be behind all this, right? Why not Cthulhu?
What kind of play style is your group? Guys like, kind of clown games or real serious role players or beer and pretzels?
Both. Really. So Kyle, who plays at our table, is a very heavy RPer and gets into character and will stay in character and it's absolutely amazing and very inspiring for me because I'm like, yeah, this is the NPC's voice that is the same as the last NPC's voice. Um, and then like we have Kate and Joe and Brad, which are also very amazing role players, but they like the goofy antics and they like to have fun and kind of enjoy themselves while in game. And we're we are a eclectic group, if you will. It's good. It's good stuff.
And you also mentioned the younger player. What age is younger?
So we have within our table we range from 28 to about 40-ish. Sorry, Brad.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's Logan who joins us sometimes. He's in elementary school, so I think he's fourth or fifth grade now.
Oh, okay, real little guy.
Yeah, so he plays with us from time to time, and he's brutal.
Oh, kids are like even like the couple of con games I've been to, and you get those like tweens. They're
Mm-hmm.
like the worst little murder hobos, and they're like they want to do like everything they can't do in real life. Like I want to steal, I want to murder, I want
Exactly.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. This past DragonCon, I had the table of like 6 13-year-olds, and they were a lot of fun. And I was not prepared for their antics at all, in any way, shape, or form.
Oh
But
yeah,
it was great.
do you run a lot of con games?
I've run DragonCon for the past 4 years. I typically run about 6 games for them.
That's a decent amount.
Yeah, I'm in a room all weekend long, just running games.
Do you get to enjoy the convention at all?
No. No, not really. Which I enjoy that part of the convention. I like the gaming aspect of it and running games for them. This year, I don't think I'm actually going to run games and just go and enjoy the con. And I'm sure I'm going to be like itching, be like, oh, I need to run something.
Yeah, you just start corralling random people to a table.
Exactly. You there, you come play D&D with us.
You're a cleric. You're a wizard.
I have your sheets ready right here. Let's do this. Let's
Yeah,
go.
a dragon's coming. What do you do?
Exactly.
I,
That'll
I was
probably
just
happen.
looking for the restroom. I don't know.
Roll for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fail your investigation check. Make a con check to
Exactly.
hold it.
Hold it. Hold it. DC 15.
Oh man. Well, that's cool. So, do you have any memorable stories from running games at cons that jump out at you?
Let's see. I do. I had. So, in one of my games, I always run kind of one shots that I've written. And in one of them, I guess it was the first or second year, the group actually got through this entire dungeon, which is about 6 rooms, without killing anything, and successfully passed all of the puzzles. And I didn't even know that that was possible. And it was just like the coolest thing ever. So like there was one room with baby dragons that were all sleeping, and then there was another room with mommy dragon who was really mad. And all the other players kind of went through and killed them all, just kill everything. And this group was like, oh, let's put a sleep spell on these baby dragons and then take them with us because that's cool. And then they found mommy dragon and they kind of returned the dragons, and she was grateful for that and kind of got them through to the next stage. And I was like, this is amazing. I didn't even know.
Yeah, she was grateful that they returned the dragons that they stole.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that game. I enjoyed it.
So yeah, like I said, when what about from the game with all the 13-year-olds? This sounds like just sheer chaos and ruckus.
It really was. We were just in a constant state of initiative, running around slapping things with sticks and swords. pretty much, and they were just filling their pockets with anything that they could find. They're like, I'm going to take the eyeballs. I'm going to take the teeth. Can I pull out the heart? I'm like, sure. Like, filling my pockets with organs, because that's the thing that I want to do.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's squishy.
For sure. So you going into the actual play game, do you guys have like a planned set of sessions? Like this game is going to go on for 12 sessions or 20 sessions or 5 years?
Nope.
Or
we have no plan. Maybe we'll cover that tonight in our session 0 of like how long do we actually want to go for? Do we want this to be another 2-year campaign? Do we want to try to go to level 20? Do we want to just, have 5 sessions and see how that goes and then reconvene of how we want to continue or whatever?
Or even as a GM, do you have like kind of an idea of what you want to see accomplished with the game?
I do, yes. I have a kind of plot list of all the spots that I want to get to and kind of when and where those things will happen. Not that that's concrete because, players will do as players do and
Absolutely.
do their own thing and access things that I didn't even know about. And it'll be awesome.
You can make plans, just do not plan the outcome.
Exactly.
So, what style of DM are you?
I don't like having a structure. I've found that while kind of playing through pre-made campaigns or pre-made materials, I don't like this is what's going to happen next. I very like the impromptu, on the fly improv stuff. I find that is my best. That is where I thrive best.
And that's actually how we tend to run as well. So how do you go about prepping for that?
I have general goals in mind and a list of NPCs, their names at least, that I can mark off as I use. And kind of, I would like to get to point B eventually, and how we get from A to B is totally up to them.
It's very similar to what we do. It's like we might write down a sentence or two, but all of my writing happens during the game, not before.
Yes, mine too. Same thing. I'll try to prep as much as I can before, and then just be like, nah, this is useless. I'm not going to use it. I'll do my own thing instead.
Yeah. I actually find most of the time the best prep I can do before a game is like go take a nap. So
naps are good, and beer is good, and roll some dice.
Just don't beer while you nap.
No, I haven't done that yet, or found a successful way to do that yet. So
yeah. Although I must say too, like a huge key to the improv style is having players that actually want to play the game and do stuff.
Yes, I think that's very important. I like for the players to really have a goal and a reason that they want to be adventuring or be in the game and doing something, so that they are striving for something as well as I am striving for something. So it's not just existing in the world.
If you have a table of people that are waiting for you to give them hooks and quests, then it becomes much more difficult, and you really do have to be like, all right, I'm going to be a linear GM or railroad GM, however you want to phrase it, and you're going to have to lay things out for them every time.
Right. You really have to know your players and know their style and what it is that they're looking for and how they want to interact with the world. I think that really helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have one group where they need me to kind of feed them things to do throughout the night, and I have another group where it's like it would be a waste of time for me to make things up because it's just going to get in their way.
Right. Yeah. I think we've had some 4-hour-long sessions where I've said maybe 2 or 3 things the whole game, and the rest of it was them kind of gallivanting around doing their own thing. I'm totally cool with that. Like, if that's how you guys want to do it, let's do it. If this is fun for you, I'm down.
I've like had sessions where I'm like, all right, well, they're going to either go here or there. And then we start and they're like, we're going shopping. I'm like, okay, shopping
Great.
It is.
Shopping. All right. Yeah. Good thing I have these shops built out.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it seems like you prefer homebrew over published material.
Yes, I do.
Do you still pick up published like adventures and stuff, or hands off on those completely?
Oh, I love published adventures and kind of picking them up, reading through them, and stealing as much as I can and reskinning. I when Tales of the Yawning Portal came out, I used White Plume Mountain and kind of reskinned it within our world and kind of the use case that they were in, but used like kind of the maps and the general layout and things like that to kind of guide them through a storyline, and it was all awesome. That is a really fun adventure.
Yeah, and that's kind of like we do a lot of the similar stuff. Like we use very little published adventure and published materials, but we pick them all up anyway.
Right, right. It's great inspiration, at
It's
least.
yeah, it's inspiration. Sometimes there's just like a cool mechanic in there you
Right.
like Out of the Abyss. Of everything I used that the most because I was running an Underdark game,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just a lot of cool information in there that would be useful if you're running an Underdark game.
Exactly, exactly. Which I need to pick that up before this campaign. If we're gonna go to the sticks, we got to go through the Underdark first, right?
If that's how your world works, you do.
Yeah. That's another cool aspect of homebrew worlds versus published stuff is it works this way
Like
because that's it. Yeah.
Matt Colville, his Underdark is another world. Like
Right.
he does
Right.
it like it's a demi-plane or something, so you actually need magic to get there.
Exactly. And that's super awesome.
So yeah, like if you're playing a game and you're like, well, you want to go to the River Styx, you have to go through the Underdark, then it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is kind of like the cool thing, and I guess that's why like we like to homebrew anyway, because if we're gonna do something generic, it's gonna be our generic.
Right. It's generic for us. So
uh, how long have you been gaming?
Um, I've been gaming for about, well, steadily for the past like 5 years. I started back in high school. We used to play MMOs kind of at one of my friend's house, and his dad would play D&D upstairs with all of his friends. And then one Saturday night, they couldn't make it, so he came downstairs and was like, "You guys want to play a real game?" And we're like, "Sure." So we played a few sessions of 3.5, and that was my first kind of introduction, or third edition. It was third edition of 3.5, whatever. And I was like, this is awesome. So we did a little bit of that, and then kind of the group fizzled out. So we stopped playing, and then about 5 years ago, I had a friend down the street who's like, "Hey, I got the starter set. Let's go run some D&D," and jump back into it. I was like, "Yay, let's do this again."
Yeah, that's funny because I've seen a lot of people and heard of a lot of people coming back to the hobby that have been out of it for a long time.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Fifth edition is great for that. It's easy enough to pick up and jump in on.
I think like the cool, I guess the best part about fifth edition is it generally feels like whatever your favorite edition was, right? It's got enough of
Yeah.
it in there to feel like that. The only edition really that it's got a huge divergence from is 4E, but that's because 4E was a huge divergence from what was out before.
Right. Yeah, I've heard stories about it. I've never traversed into 4E, but I think that might be for the best. It seems to be everybody else's sentiment about it, at least.
Yeah, it's a little bit divided there. I've played all the
Yeah.
editions and I've liked them all for different reasons. To be honest, so Zaref Gaming wants to know
Right.
what are your favorite aspects of the Underdark, if you even have favorite aspects of the Underdark.
I really like Drow. I think they're cool, and their culture is awesome, and their cities are neat, and their politicalness, kind of going back into that political aspect, is really cool within Minzo Baranzan if you're looking at kind of the Forgotten Realm world of it. And then just the pure chaos of everything else in the Underdark is just amazing.
That's funny because I was going to say all the non-drow parts.
I like the drow parts because the culture is interesting to me, but the chaos of like all the demons and stuff and
20
Zugamoy is so cool.
20 plus years of Drizzt fanboys have totally killed it for me.
Yeah, well, you know, that's how I got kind of introduced into Forgotten Realms, was reading the Drizzt books and being like, oh, this is neat.
Yeah, I guess that was probably one of the first trilogies I read outside of you know, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. Not that the
Right.
Hobbit was a trilogy, but you know, they were the first books I read, and then that kind of like took me all over the place in the realms, you know. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of great stories. There's a lot of great things, and I actually like R.A. Salvatore's works better that don't involve Drizzt. So like his Demon War
I
saga
agree with that. Yes. Right. Yeah, I'm not so much a Drizzt fanboy, but I like the concept of the stories, and his work is really good. So
the Demon War saga was really good, and his other Corona stuff was really good. This Spear Wielder trilogy was really good. Echoes of the Fourth Magic was really good.
yes.
So I just felt like, I don't know why, it just, to me, that those stories resonated more so. I think what it is with like Drizzt is like after 20 plus books or whatever he's up to now, I just felt like that character never really seemed to evolve or change, and always like you're reading the same character throughout all the books.
Yeah. Yeah. I can agree with that. I can see that.
And that's probably why, like, we were talking about this before, and like the Homeland trilogy is actually the best part of that series, because I felt like it was the only place that seemed like he changed, and you know, the character
Right.
evolved. But then it was like he was set in stone after that.
Yeah. He's like, I have been defined, and here's my definition. I will carry on with life.
Oh, did you read Daughter of the Drow?
I don't think so.
Check out Daughter of the Drow. It's I think there's several books in that series. But if you want to, you know, it's not so much another take on Drow, but another author's Drow characters, which is it was a really good story.
Awesome. I've put that on my list. I will do that.
Yeah, they were out quite some time ago. So yeah, you'll definitely dig that if Drow are your favorite part of the Underdark, I think.
Cool. Love
it. So do you know what your players are going to be playing in this coming game, or is that what you're going to find out during the session 0?
I think I'm going to find that out during the session 0, but I'm pretty sure we have a Yontai snake person, which will be a lot of fun, and then some Shatterkai. So I think there's going to be brothers, and then not quite sure what the fourth is yet, but we'll find out.
So are the brothers going to be Shatterkai or the?
Yes, they're going to be Shatterkai. Yeah.
Nice. I haven't even really looked at them yet to see. Like I said, I spent more time in the monster section than anywhere with Toma Foes. Yeah. And now we're like reading through it.
I think the monsters is what I've spent the least time on, because I don't want to, because I know I will be sucked in, and then that's it. That's all I'll be reading for the next while. So I got through all the big chapters first, and the Shatterkai are really cool, and the content on the Raven Queen is awesome.
Yeah, you know, I guess I like the monsters because I can kind of like jump around and read one and be done and move on to a different one.
Yeah, easily consumable, small little factions.
And not only that too, it's like, oh look, here's a monster I really loved from when I used to play 3.5. So I want to read this, you know, because they brought back the gray render. Like, I guess
so cool.
Yeah. So I guess one of the cool things about the book, and also one of the disappointments about the book at the same time, is it's pretty much I don't think we got any new monsters. I think they're all from previous editions.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty sure we got some cool stats though.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've really enjoyed with 5e is they've been able to take really like obscure weird monsters that don't make any sense from previous editions and create lure around them to make them make sense somehow.
Right.
Like the flail snail.
Like the flail snail.
Looking at you, buddy.
I thought the GIF was one of the most interesting creatures.
Yeah, I would have loved to see player stats for the GIF.
Yeah, me too. But then I would have had to like beat my player's way with a stick, being like, "No, you can't be a space hippo." No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it would either be one of them, or it would be none of them, or all of them would have to be space hippos because they don't interact. They don't interact outside of the company. So
exactly. Which the lore around them that they've included is super cool.
Well, that's what I've really enjoyed about fifth edition as a whole.
Yeah.
So Nerdarchy Doug wants to know: will the Session Zero be recorded and shared? Also, Yanti Shadakai sounds like a cheery group so far.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting group. I'm thinking it'll be kind of an anti-hero sort of feel to it. But yes, we will be recording the Session Zero, and that will be up in the Outer World podcast.
So they're saying in the chat that the Obelix is brand new. I feel like there was something similar to that before, but I could be wrong. It's happened. And they are actually they're really cool.
My past knowledge, yeah, my past knowledge isn't that deep, so I don't know. But they're cool. They're all cool.
Well, you figure this is fifth edition now, and I want to say between AD&D and third edition, we must have gotten at least 10 monster manuals, and that's not counting like, oh, here's the Codex of Fiends or something along those lines. I mean, just like straight up monster books.
That's so many. It's so many creatures.
Oh, okay. So that was the Make-A-Wish one that was created, and it's also one of the more interesting monsters in there. The ooze people. It reminds me of it's an ooze. It's if you were to take a angular fish and mash an ooze together. But the worm they dangle is people.
Right. Here, look at this creature. This is what we created off of a Make-A-Wish.
Yeah. I did. I was close to using those in my last session.
I'm sure most of these creatures will see the light of day in this next campaign because they're all just too interesting.
Well, and then the other thing is, like, all my players are high level now, so perfect timing.
Yeah, there's some high CR creatures, which I know the CR limits only mean so much when it comes to actual player interactions, but still, they're cool.
Nerdarchy Doug says, "OMG, the sisterhood would freak out." It's I run for a group of ladies Tuesday nights called the Scarlet Sisterhood. They're the ones I thought about using it on, Doug. One of my players in that game has a penchant for trying to always like understand and befriend the monsters, and just because it's a monster doesn't mean it's evil. So
yeah, I like that kind of that player style of not everything's intentions are pure evil, but sometimes they are.
Well, and that's the great thing about it. Like, so in order to effectively use that as a DM, you have to let them be right some of the time.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're never going to get those great moments when they get betrayed, when the inevitable betrayal happens.
Right.
Even though everyone saw it.
Everyone saw it coming, but still, it's pretty glorious.
They had encountered a beholder that had been imprisoned. Using arcane and psychic energy, and they had been trying to figure out how to free it, and he'd been rather cordial to them, the whole time, but of course he was trapped and had nothing better to do, and
right,
and
beholders do.
One of my players rolled for was newer to the game and was examining the runes and stuff and rolled for divine intervention and got it. I think it was like what is it, like a 6% or something,
right?
And they rolled like an 05.
Oh wow!
So I was like,
well done.
I guess we're doing this. Yes,
we're doing it.
You absolutely break the prison.
Yeah, we had a beholder in our last campaign that was entrapped in a tomb and was trying to get the players to help them, but they weren't being so helpful. So instead, he decided to transmit his mind through some crazy means of magic that I couldn't explain to you into their tiger friend. So they then had the essence of the beholder inside of their tiger companion and wandered around the world with them and just shamed them about everything that they did. And it was a lot of fun.
At some point you should have had his eyes merge into one eye and had the stalks grow out of his tiger head.
Oh my gosh, you should have done that.
That would have been so good.
Tony the beholder tiger will come back.
Yeah. Then his assault will no longer just be verbal.
Right, exactly. They actually got Tony cleaned out, quote unquote, by a mind flayer that they had befriended, and that was fun too.
Oh wow, you got a lot of creepy monsters in there making friends with your players.
There really is. It's kind of a, can you help me at this moment? Then you are useful to me at this moment. So I like with things like the Illithid and the Beholders, like they might not be evil for the sake of evil that are just going to outright kill you. It's more of how can I use these players to my advantage and kind of get them to do my bidding for me.
So the chat has just inspired me. I have a penchant for using my monsters, and when I denote their NPCs by putting a hat on them. In our city of Outcast, which is in our Underdark, which we call the Beneath, I have a Grell crime lord who wears a Jeff cap and has a monocle like wedged into his brain, even though he has no eyes. Stanley the Beholder had a bowler hat. Matter of fact, the players when they went to see him last time, just before they broke him out, they decided to have made tiny bowler hats, undersized bowler hats, so that they could distinguish that they were part of his gang.
That's so good. I love that so much. Hats on everything.
Hats, yeah. Although when they did finally have to confront Stanley, his hat, he flipped it off into his anti-magic ray, which then turned it into a Behir, because it was polymorph. It was a Behir polymorphed into a hat.
That's so cool. I like it.
Yeah, we had some good times with that. I almost got to sink their ship.
Oh man, that's good. Yeah, we had a ship captain in our last campaign that sacrificed his ship and just exploded into pieces. And, it was a lot of fun.
What did he sacrifice it for?
For gaining the alignment of the dragon gods and becoming a paladin for them. He had to give up some type of materialistic part of him, which was his ship in this instance. And he agreed to it, and then their airship exploded.
Oh, it was an airship.
Yeah, it was an airship. So.
Even harder to part with.
It really was. It was that or his hands. He had the choice. He's like, I'm keeping my hands. You can have the ship.
Yeah, the hands are a bit rough.
There's ways around it. There would have been other bits, but our monk gave up his hands. and that was awesome.
What did the monk? Was it for the same deal?
No, he actually picked up a cursed item that he couldn't put down.
Uh.
So then he had this giant greatsword that he couldn't put down, and he couldn't use it because it was just too big. So he ended up sacrificing his hands and getting them both bitten off by one of their dragon friends. I like dragons a lot, so I put them in my campaigns a lot because they're cool. It's Dungeons and Dragons, like let there be dragons. But yeah, that was a big moment in our gaming table.
I'm not so sure that having your hands bitten off in that way is the best way to go about it. It's definitely not like the cleanest cut.
No, definitely not. And it's not something that I would have chosen, but he went with it and it was his decision.
So what did he do for hands?
I think they ended up tying some metal plates to them. And then just kind of using his nubs.
There was an old it would be old now. Kung Fu movie where like this group of martial artists come together and they'd all been like made enemies of this like crazy emperor guy, and like he like chopped one guy's hands off, another guy's legs off, and made one guy blind. Crushed the other guy's skull until he was like mentally handicapped, and there might have been one that was he deafened as well, and they all meet this like blind master or whatever, and then retrains them to use kung fu with their disabilities. Nerdarchy claims it's the crippled masters, and it very well may be. Like they forge iron hands for the one guy with no hands and legs for the other guy that has no legs.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Saturdays used to be great. It was like cartoons and wrestling and kung fu theater would basically take up the whole day.
Yes, all of the kung fu theater.
And then, you know what else? We also
makes it so awesome.
Giant monsters. You had the giant monsters as well, which would be like Godzilla and King Kong. Although that stuff doesn't hold up very well. It was so bad.
It really doesn't. It's really bad, but I love it. It was a big part of my childhood, and I am all about some big monsters and Godzilla. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All I know is Saturdays used to be amazing when I was a kid. Like, my mom and dad had to literally throw us out.
Go outside.
Yeah. So we are coming up on the hour mark here. What do you want to say to people before we head on out?
Check out mageproductions.com. That's where you can find links to all of our content and kind of everything we do. I post a lot on Twitter. You can find me at Shimmerwind Isle, which is actually the name of the first world that I created, which is part of Outerworld, and I kept it because it's cool and it means a lot to me. Yeah, that's about it. We've got our new campaign coming up. We'll be launching that soon. So
awesome. Thanks for coming on. People, you can check it out. As always, links are in the description for social media, website, iTunes, all that good stuff. You can go follow GM Leigh over there. And thanks for hanging out with us. Until next time, stay nerdy.